welcome to episode 4 of Best Perspective. We're recapping round 3 this week, and my name's Caroline Ma.
And I'm Matt Hill, and we had the biggest upset of the league history carried this week. What an upset.
Yeah, absolutely. We had the team Melbourne, who's literally never lost a game, against the team Adelaide, who's literally never won a game, and we had a huge win from Adelaide in a 2-1 set victory. It was amazing.
Yeah, let's look at the results now.
Yep.
All right, so we're starting with the Melbourne Flames versus Adelaide Dragons, which we just talked about. A huge upset, as you're saying. How did Adelaide do it?
Adelaide just looked like they were coming together this week. All the parts were really just looking seamless. I think in particular the New Zealand connection between Aaron Neal and Lachlan Robertson, both of those men had incredible games. In particular, Aaron Neal just standard shooting, lovely backhands with touch straight into stride of their receivers, and that was an incredible thing to see over and over again.
And that's what we were expecting with the number 1 draft pick. Aaron Neal has got quite a reputation for that and delivered to beat the Flames.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had regular contributors, Sean Davis, Sally Yu scoring a bunch of goals, Diana Woman tearing it up, Kim Sprague having a good one as well. I think that they just had a really good week. On the flip side of that, I think Melbourne sort of gave them a few opportunities. There were a couple of errors that they made during the game. They weren't looking as seamless as they have been in the past, but they're also not looking as strong as they were last year as well. So I think there was chinks in their armour starting to show anyway.
Yeah, which we talked about at the start of the season. A couple of big losses in Tom Tullett and Georgia Griffiths.
Alexandra Prentice, yeah. Huge.
Well, yeah, others, but people that were already listed in the team.
Absolutely.
So they picked their initial team. They still look strong, but
Yeah.
had a couple of late withdrawals. Hopefully Georgia will still make it back for one of the games.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, speaking about Melbourne, I think it looks like Seb Barr and Kat Phillips are doing a lot of the grunt work on O at the moment, and it's looking like a little bit difficult. There's also been quite a few drops across the board, and I think Lachlan Wise hasn't been playing as well as his maybe could and his potential. So,
yeah, speaking of Lachlan Wise and dropping, that was a pretty confident attempt at taking a catch.
Pre-celebration and a bit of a sitter. He had a drop immediately off in the first point as well, off a really nice huck from Kat Phillips. So I think unlucky there, but Adelaide able to capitalise on that, and I think that's a huge win for them.
Yeah, but a great match too. Adelaide getting the first set, Melbourne coming strong in the second, and then the third set could have gone either way. A couple of moments there, so really good match all up.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll go into the next match. So Sydney up against Perth. Perth hosting the game. Bit late for the East side bias.
Yeah, I think. Look, Sydney are just looking very unstoppable at the moment. We're saying it week after week. It just looks like that the team, if any team's going to be able to beat them, they're going to need to be able to stop their huck game for one. And that's just when you've got Mark Evans, Alex Latamatos, and Tom Rigaki just suiting it to anybody on their team. It's pretty unstoppable. So I think that's, again, they use that to their advantage in this game. And Perth are just looking, can't seem to replicate that first game that we saw them come out really, really strong. They have really nice offensive passages of play, but it just looks like they're struggling to just put points on the board at this point.
Yeah, although they came home and got the last set convincingly too. So I don't know if City took their foot off the pedal or what happened, but they did score the first couple of goals in a couple of the sets as well.
Definitely, yeah. There's definitely glimpses of greatness in there, and I think it's just Perth trying to figure out how to sustain that a little bit more. I think we've seen potentially the MVP last season, Alex Shepherd, hasn't been getting as involved as I think he could be for that team, and maybe if he sort of steps up a little bit more, that could help with their offensive generation.
Playing a different role, I think, this year. He did a lot of handling last year, but this year they brought in Kyle Lowe and Eunice in particular, sitting behind the disc a lot, so a bit of a different role. But yeah, as you said, can turn the game at any moment.
And on the other side of that, I think as well, we've got the young guns, Dave Andrews and Kyle Weir, just actually really showing up and making their impression known in this game. So it's not just the big stars in the Sydney Suns that are doing everything.
It's the full team.
Roster. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
Right.
And obviously Rosie Dawson always scoring a bunch of goals as well. So I think Sydney are definitely in a good position to maybe take out this whole thing, like you said at the start, Matt.
Yeah, well, they're sitting in the right spot at the moment. 3 wins. And we'll look at the ladder a little bit later, but yeah, probably only need the one more win to lock in the final, whether that's this week or the week after. They are looking dominant, and I think if they needed to, they probably could have won that third set. Nothing against Perth, but it seemed like they kind of stepped back a little bit. Okay, Canberra and Brisbane. Now, this was a fantastic game.
Yeah, this was a really interesting one. I think there's been a lot of hype about Brisbane, like looking at their roster.
From
and
you
everything.
mostly?
I'm a big Brisbane I think they've got a lot of potential. I think this was the first game where we sort of saw, oh, this is what this team can do. They were very dominant, 3 sets to love, which is from a team that hasn't won anything so far.
They won one set up to now.
Right, yeah. So 1 set, but like no games up to this point. I think to Canberra just have a bit of like a loose offensive style, in my opinion. I think they're putting up a lot of 50-50s, and in this game they just didn't really come down with them. But in particular, I think everyone in Brisbane was playing very well. Yeah. Matt Zucker and McNaughton in particular just really hitting their stride, finding their groove and ripping it up on offense.
Yeah, starting to connect like they've been... we always knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Or we thought it was going to happen, and it finally is happening.
Yeah, and the same
one game though, so...
Yeah, 1 game. We'll see how it goes, but I think that this could be the start of Brisbane potentially on a run, or maybe it's just an outlier and maybe they just played well in this 1 game, but they just looked really strong and dominant. And I think, again, all round contributors. We got big layouts from Lachlan Murphy, big hucks from Laramie, and great control from Kat Smith. Just their roster just contributing overall.
Dom Simpson surprising me. I thought she hung back as a handler most of the time, but she's catching a lot of goals this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's everywhere, just like a big threat. So I think, Brisbane, one to watch, but is it just an outlier? Who knows? We can see how much they get.
Look, I was backing them at the start of the season to make that final. They lost the first 2. I went right off and I tipped Canberra this week, and they really proved me wrong.
Yeah.
So looking at the ladder now. Yeah, so we talked about Sydney on top with the 3 wins, 3 from 3, only team undefeated, and really looking like they're going to be in the final at this stage.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, Cara, is there's Melbourne with 2 wins, but then the next 4 teams are all on 1 win.
Right. Yeah.
So, it's still right up in the air. Any team can make the final if results go their way and they win the next 2 matches.
Yeah.
They could be in the final.
Absolutely. I think, Melbourne just having 1 more win than the other teams doesn't mean a whole lot at this stage. Like we've said, I don't think we've seen them play at their best. And if teams like Adelaide and Brisbane can continue on with performances like they had this round, it could be anyone's game.
That's right. So it's really interesting spot now. After 3 rounds, the ladder's starting to take shape, and could go either way. Okay, so we mentioned some stats, but we'll kind of delve a bit deeper into them now. So starting off with the goals, a couple of people have shot up. So Rosie Dawson has hit equal top there. Sean Davis has been up there for a while. Rosie's up there with 10 goals now. And we have to give a bit of a shout out to Scott Perry. There were some errors we found in the stats. And so Scott should have been in the top 6. Apologies, Scott, for the Canberra Freeze. He should have been in the top 6 every week so far.
Right.
We missed one in the first week, and he was just outside the top 6 every week. So he's back. Well, he's in there as he should be now.
Yeah, getting the credit for it.
So, sorry about that, Scott.
Been playing extremely well. Sort of maybe even unknown. He played on the Mammoth Nationals winning team. We know that he's capable of stuff, and I think he's shown that he's been a very, very handy addition to this Canberra roster.
And potentially a surprise pick for some from Canberra in the draft, but he is proving his worth. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, moving on to assists. And there's one person at the top still for the whole season building a bigger lead.
Tom Rigaki. Who can stop him?
Yeah.
What can any team do to stop him?
He's playing off the D-line.
It's unbelievable. He's just picking it up and shooting it. And I think no matter how many turnovers he has, he's always just going to have such a high conversion rate with the wealth of receivers there are on Sydney Suns. So...
Yeah, so Kat Phillips scored a few goals this week, jumped up along with Aaron Neal, who you talked about at the start, his lovely wide backhand. So both of them in second place, I think, in the leaderboard.
Yep.
With the blocks, not a lot of changes this week. We spoke about Pete early. Didn't actually add to his tally this week, but still
a leader.
Still holds the top.
Remarkable.
In fact, of the top 6, there's only one addition. So Michaela Dummel wasn't in the top 6 last week. Everyone else stays the same.
Great.
So not a lot of change with that one.
That's right.
All right, let's look at fantasy. And the Nugs still on top.
Newcastle Nuggets.
They
leading the board.
Yeah, they're leading the board. So they're number 1 team. 2 weeks in a row now at the top of the ladder. But speaking of 2 weeks in a row, the highest winning or the highest scoring team for this round was taking out the trash. So Steve Whelans, again, congratulations. Actually scored more this week than he did last week.
Right.
So his players are just hitting their straps. Whoever they are, I think they might have been posted up on social media. So Steve Whelans, you've won another prize. Send us another email, a disc or a beanie.
Collect your
Congratulations. You know how to pick your fantasy team. This, like, if he keeps going like this, he's going to win the whole thing, no doubt. So they're second on the ladder and 2 weeks in a row the top score. Congratulations, Steve. Now, we do have prizes. No one did this last week. So if you're the only one that does it this week, you're guaranteed to get the prize.
Yeah.
We want you to share the top 5 plays. I think they were posted yesterday.
Yep.
And you win a beanie. So you need to write hashtag AUL Best Perspective in your post. Make sure it's available for everyone to view. Otherwise, if it's hidden and private, we don't know if you've posted it. So post it. We want to give you your team's or your favourite team's beanie. All right. That was competition time. I did jump ahead, so we missed competition time. What we do have now, though, is after the success of Tom Della last week, we do have a special guest this week. So if you've been paying attention to the Facebook, you'll know who it is. So let's just get that special guest banner up here. And if you were paying attention to Facebook, you'll see that Simma Dhaliwal from the Melbourne Flames is our special guest this week. So give a round of applause. Welcome, Simma Dhaliwal. Our studio audience, round of applause. Yeah, there's no one there.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Welcome, Simma. So, what happened against Adelaide?
Look, I think it was a bit of a rocky start. Maybe it was overconfidence, thinking that we were coming into this game with all of the wins up our sleeve, and they'd come into the league with having lost their game so far. So I think it was a bit of a mixture of overconfidence and maybe some nerves at the start. We had a bit of a slow start, some execution errors, but I think we managed to bring it back in the second set. But I think Adelaide were just too good. They were just picking it up and hoofing it every single time. And I think in the end that was unstoppable for us. Yeah. I also think, again, to mention Locko's iconic clap, catch and drop was, I think, the most iconic play of the AUL so far.
It has been turned into a meme very quickly.
Yeah, I think it was turned into a GIF in about 5 minutes after the game. And I think potentially a couple of dangerous plays from Sean Davis. I think there was a bit of a spicy call made. There was one instance where one of our players, Andrew C, was going up for the disc, and Sean Davis just literally ran straight through him. And I think that was a contested call, but a bit of dangerous play there, and also diving right in front of Catfield just as she was about to catch the disc and had to literally jump over him to catch it.
Right, okay. Spicy.
Bit spicy.
Did that impact the game, do you think?
In the end, I don't think it did, but I think it's just important to emphasise body control during that, no matter what level of play that you participate in.
All right.
Totally.
There you go. Sydney, this week.
Yeah.
It's probably should be the match of the round, I would say. Grand finalists last year, both of them. What have you got planned?
Well, we're looking to get another win up our sleeve and hopefully not let Sydney get the revenge that they're probably looking for. We know that Tom Rogacki has been scoring the most assists in the league so far. We know Rosie Dawson's up there. We know Danny Alexander is also one of the best receivers in Australia. So we'll be looking to shut them down, as well as pretty much every other player that they have. They just have an incredible roster. So we'll be doing our best to play the best defense that we can. Yeah.
Okay, so that's anything the coaches have talked to you about this week about, as you suggested, you have to stop everyone. The team is solid all throughout, as Karen mentioned earlier. Any team tactics, maybe not going to tell us here?
Yeah, I think I'll try not to give away too much, but I think we'll be looking to hopefully move the disc very quickly and just get some clean offense going as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who's been your favourite teammate to play with on the Melbourne Flames this season?
I think, I love everyone, but I think...
name them. Come on.
Yeah.
I think one of my favourite players this season so far has been Lefty, Chris Stoddard. If you're watching, hey Lefty. Really enjoyed
He'll be
playing with you. Really enjoyed playing with you in the league so far. He's just brings so much positive energy and fun times to the team. And I think after our upset against Adelaide, he brought up the team morale so much. And we've also had Georgia, Egan Griffiths and Tom Tullett, obviously out with injury at the moment, but they've been a huge sideline presence for us.
Awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know Chris Dodd has been pushing for a Newcastle team for next season. What do you think the chances of that happening?
Probably slim. So Newcastle's not a state.
You heard it here first.
Wow, this is spicy.
Spicy news.
I'm just dishing it out.
Simmer has come here to take some shots.
Yeah, we've actually, I've got a viewer question from Carlet Blue. He just wants to know, who is your favourite Della as well?
It has to be Jenny. Jenny
Who's
is
Jenny?
the Della, the mum of the family, and she is great. Also Lucy as well.
Great.
She is the better Della.
Great.
And thoughts on the 3 set. So a bit of a new thing that they were doing this year. What were your expectations coming in and how have you found it?
Yeah, I thought coming into it, it would be something that we'd have to obviously adjust to. I've never played that style of Ultimate before, so it definitely felt like you went very quickly. The sets, like as we've been playing them, they've been going just so quickly. But I think it keeps it really exciting when you're like one set and it's even, and the next set wins. I think it keeps it really, really interesting and very competitive. Every single point matters, and no matter if one team is up by 5 points in the set, they can still lose the next set, and that can determine the game. So I think it's really, really interesting and an awesome idea this year.
Yeah, nice. Well, thanks for coming on the show. We're going to keep you around for our review of the upcoming games.
Yep.
So obviously you're going to be biased towards Melbourne Flames,
Yep.
but that's okay. I'm sure you're going to say something interesting so far based on the answer to your questions. All right, so we're going to look at the round 4 games, starting with Canberra and Perth. Caro, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, this is a really interesting matchup. Like you said, Matt, there's 4 teams at the bottom with only 1 win, so this could go either way. Like I said earlier, I really like the way Perth are playing. Well, they have played in this league so far. I think it's just a matter of them getting their connections together. But Canberra have been proven to score, and you've got Scott Perry getting in and amongst it. I think Perth are going to get the win 2-1 for this one. What about you, Matt?
Yep, as you said, interestingly, the 4 teams that are on 1 win play each other this week. So there'll be 2 teams still on 1 win and 2 that have 2 wins. So, yeah, really interesting. I do think... I just like the way Perth played in their first round matchup against Brisbane. If they can bring that again, I think they're going to beat Canberra. Canberra was so close to Brisbane this week in every one of the sets.
Yeah.
But, yeah, probably 2-1 as well. You've played both teams already, I think. Yep. Which one do you think is going to come out on top?
Well, I have to agree with everything you said. I think Perth are going to come up 2-1. I think just the way Canberra's playing, I think Perth are just a little bit more crisp on offense and defense at the moment.
Great. Okay, the next game, Brisbane versus Adelaide. So they're both on 1 win each, as you mentioned. They both had big wins this week, so they're in form. But I know what you're going to say, Carrie. You're still picking Brisbane to win.
Well, actually, look, I think I want Adelaide to ride the coattails of that huge win against Melbourne. You know, I love an underdog, and at the moment, I think the team that's never beat the defending champions, I feel like they're in good stride. So I'm actually going to back Adelaide on this one and go against my initial thoughts. So I'm going to go 2-1 to Adelaide.
So the win against Melbourne was a bigger victory for Adelaide than Brisbane's win against Canberra.
Yeah, I just think that Melbourne was the stronger team in those 2 matchups, and I'm just really interested to see what else Adelaide can do.
Yeah, great. Simmer?
Yeah, I'm going to have to tip Brisbane 2-1 for the win. I just think Brisbane have an amazing roster, and I think they're just, the way they're executing all their throws, I think is just a little bit better than the Dragons at the moment.
Yeah, well, I tipped against them last week. I'm not going to do it this week. I'm still not confident that they're going to get the 3, but I'm going to tip Brisbane 2-1 against Adelaide.
Cool.
We're all on par so far, right? Did we? No, you tipped the upset.
I tipped the upset. I'm going with the upset.
Well, don't know. Okay, and a final game. We've mentioned it a little bit, Sydney, Melbourne. Let's hear from Caro first.
2018 grand final grudge match. Look, I think Sydney's really just really hard to look past at this point. I just can't really see them losing to any of the teams based on what we've seen so far. So I'm actually just, sorry, Sim, I'm going to back them 3-0 against the Flames.
Wow.
Yeah, they're just looking very strong. Sorry about it.
I'm going the same actually. I think people are starting to work out Melbourne. We saw Adelaide do it this week. We know they've got a few deficiencies in the team. Sorry, Simmer. And Sydney is just looking too strong. I think they're going to take all 3 sets. What do you think?
I'll have to disagree with all of that. I think Melbourne are going to take it 3-0.
3-0.
Yeah,
Huge.
we're going to do a bit of rebranding of our team. We're going to be shuffling things around a little bit maybe. And so we'll be looking to win 3-0, I think.
3-0.
Yeah.
Coach Greta Murdoch's got the magnets out all week.
Yep,
moving
pretty
around.
much.
Okay.
Pretty much working on the clock
Great.
to get some new strategies.
To quote Tom Della, if you don't back yourself, who will? So
Exactly.
that's great.
Wise
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
True. Well, 100% of guests we've had on the show have won the next week.
Absolutely.
So
Here we go.
there we go. That's it. That's it for another episode of Best Perspective, unless I've missed something. No.
Yeah, that's all good. I
Great,
think you're all
good.
good,
I
yeah.
missed something last week. So, Karen, any final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thought would just be, if you're ever not sure, just remember, we've got the best perspective.